Tyreek Hill's legal team battling to keep domestic abuse allegations sealed in court. Tyreek Hill's legal team is battling to keep allegations of domestic abuse levied against the Miami Dolphins wide receiver sealed from the public. In a motion filed with the Miami-Dade Circuit Court, 6 media outlets, the Miami Herald, Scripps Media, CBS4, WFOR-TV, Defector Media, NBC6, WTVJ-TV, and Telemundo 51, WSCV-TV, requested the document alleging 8 instances of domestic abuse be unsealed. For now, that court document filed by the attorney of Hill's estranged wife has only been acquired by TMZ. Earlier this month, TMZ reported some of the allegations made by his wife in the document, including an accusation that Hill violently attacked her, throwing her to the floor, twisting her intimate body parts, ripping her hair out, and grabbing anything on her person he could get a hold of. According to Defector, the attorney who filed the document did not request for it to be sealed. That attorney, Evan R. Marks, says he was threatened by members of Hill's legal team who told him that if any financial harm came to Hill because of the court document, his client will pursue all available remedies against me, my client, and my firm, and me personally. A second person on Hill's legal team, Marks said, made similar threats to him as well. The motion filed on behalf of the aforementioned 6 media outlets argues that there are narrow instances in which closure of judicial records is permitted. Disclosures that invite public scrutiny or employer attention are notably absent from the list. It says, wishing to avoid the media or NFL's attention is not a proper basis for closure of court records in Florida. The NFL has already confirmed it is investigating the allegations, and TMZ reported that the league's lead investigator, Lisa Friel, recently met with the attorney of Hill's estranged wife. Hill has been the subject of previous NFL investigations, but has never been suspended by the league. In 2019, Hill was accused of child abuse that resulted in his 3-year-old son breaking his arm, but that investigation was later closed without charges filed, and the NFL opted against levying punishment. Hill also wasn't punished in 2013 for an incident where he allegedly hit a man in the back of the head at a Florida marina. The courtroom was silent, save for the soft scratching of pens on paper. The air was heavy with expectation, the kind of weight that comes when star power collides with the unforgiving machinery of justice. At the center of the storm sat Tyreek Hill, the NFL's cheetah, whose speed on the field has dazzled millions, but whose name now lingers in headlines for reasons far away from football. For months, whispers have followed him, whispers that threaten to rip through the carefully constructed walls of fame and fortune. Allegations, shadows, and now, his legal team is fighting with every weapon at their disposal to keep those allegations sealed, locked behind the thick doors of the justice system. The battle over secrecy. To the outside world, courtrooms are arenas of truth. But inside, they're also chessboards. Every move is calculated. Every piece is protected. Hill's attorneys, seasoned and sharp, know the stakes. If the allegations become public, the damage to his reputation could be irreversible, regardless of what's proven in the end. It's a paradox modern athletes know too well. Innocence is often irrelevant once the story hits the public. Fans scroll headlines, sponsors recoil, and franchises weigh the value of loyalty against the weight of public opinion. The court of law moves slowly. The court of public opinion does not wait. And so, Hill's team argues not simply for his rights as a defendant, but for his survival as a public figure. They insist that unverified claims, if unleashed, would be weaponized beyond the courtroom walls. The media frenzy waiting outside. Outside the courthouse, vans line the street, satellite dishes tilted like curious heads. Reporters rehearse their live shots, eager to pounce on any scrap of information. They know what sells. Tyreek Hill is not just another man entangled in legal drama. He is a superstar, a face on billboards, a player whose name is synonymous with speed and spectacle. For media outlets, the sealing of records is not just a legal battle, it's a story denied. For the public, it's a flame of curiosity stifled by opaque glass. Every time a lawyer demands privacy, a skeptic wonders, what are they hiding? This tension, the tug-of-war between transparency and protection, is as old as justice itself. Yet when it involves someone who scores touchdowns on Sundays, the appetite for exposure is insatiable. The man behind the jersey. What complicates matters most is the duality of Tyreek Hill. To many fans, he is the athlete who outruns entire defenses, whose grin lights up highlight reels. To critics, He is a man whose past has already raised difficult questions. Allegations of domestic abuse are not just legal matters. They strike at the heart of character, morality, and what kind of men society is willing to cheer for. Hill, sitting quietly beside his attorneys, is not wearing a helmet, not wearing the armor of a jersey. He is not the cheetah here. He is simply Tyreek, another figure waiting for strangers in robes and suits to decide what parts of his life the world gets to see. The NFL's watchful eye. Though the courtroom is the battlefield, the NFL looms in the background. The league, scarred by its long and messy history with domestic violence cases, watches closely. Any leak, any document unsealed, could trigger a storm of disciplinary questions. Suspension, fines, counseling mandates. The NFL is an empire built on spectacle, but it has learned, painfully, that ignoring off-field issues only deepens the wounds. If Hill's allegations surface, whether substantiated or not, the league will be forced to act. And in that action, his team, his teammates, and even his fans will feel the ripple. The ethics of sealing. But the question lingers. Should such allegations remain sealed? Hill's lawyers argue that privacy is a constitutional right. They say a man should not be tried by tabloids before he's tried in court. They argue that sealing the records isn't hiding the truth. It's protecting the process. Critics, however, bristle at the thought. They argue that transparency is a cornerstone of justice, that secrecy erodes trust, that the powerful too often buy privacy while the powerless have their lives laid bare. In their view, sealing the allegations is not a defense of fairness, but an evasion of accountability. And so the ethical debate rages. Is secrecy a shield for justice, or a shadow in which the truth suffocates? The human cost. Lost in the noise are the human beings behind the words domestic abuse allegations. For every headline about Hill, there are lives impacted in ways the public may never fully see. Court documents hold not just accusations, but human stories, pain, fear, anger, resilience. The sealing of records may keep Hill's image intact, but it also cloaks those stories in silence. For survivors of abuse everywhere, silence can feel like complicity. The courtroom may resolve one man's fate, but the message sent echoes far beyond its walls. The road ahead. As the gavel eventually strikes, the decision to seal or unseal will ripple outward. If sealed, the story becomes a whisper, traded in rumors, always half known but never fully understood. If unsealed, it explodes into headlines,